The time has come once again for Friday night primetime action to get underway. Good afternoon and welcome to Road Atlanta for round number 3 of the iRacing IMSA Sports Car Championship, being brought to you live from RaceSpot TV on the iRacing Esports Network. Tonight, well, I guess you can say, consider this the pre-race brawl before the Petit Le Mans taking place tomorrow at this exact same track with these same cars. My name is Nolan Rampel with Ryan Walker beside me in the commentator box and Connor Maddock behind the cameras for today's race. Ryan, the last race at Suzuka was certainly a barnstormer, and we were just talking about how tricky multi-class racing that place was. I think you would agree with me when I say that the way Road Atlanta is laid out, those challenges are only going to be more amplified here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Road Atlanta, it's a fantastic track when it comes to multi-class racing, but it's so difficult to lap around here because in reality, there's nowhere to really pass any cars apart from the run down to turn 1 or that long back straight. So yeah, drivers are going to have to be very patient, and when it comes to lapping traffic, the prototype drivers are going to have to think with their brain.
Of course, the big talking point going into this race is going to, of course, be the Petit Le Mans, a 10-hour endurance race around this exact same circuit taking place just tomorrow. A lot of drivers have been using this week here in the IMSA Sports Car Championship as a bit of a training ground. And this is going to be one of those last races where they're going to be able to get their feet wet before diving headfirst into the pool in tomorrow's 10-hour endurance race.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, some of the drivers have been using a lot of the races this week to get some practice in. Maybe to try some different stuffs on the setup, see what works, let's see what doesn't work, and just see how it goes. But I think tonight we've got a few drivers that we recognise, especially in the P2 class. We've got Johan Harth, Samuel Lebert, Maxime Bryant, Fraser Williams, and Theobald Kazubon, and also Martin van Loozenord. So a few names to keep an eye on. Sorry.
Absolutely, a lot of very familiar names. Of course, Johan Harth making a name for himself in the Thrustmaster iRacing Rallycross World Championship and also races in the Porsche Esports Super Cup. So Johan Harth right now sitting on the pole with a 108.184. Just a little ways behind him by just over a tenth is going to be Samuel Lebert. We watch Liam McNish in the number 35 Audi R8 in the GTD category just now on a flying lap right now, round his way through that final corner of always terrifying corner. Will he improve on his time? He is going to go 5th fastest in the GTD category. So the Audi looking set to start in the front few rows with a 118.475.
Absolutely, and the Audi in the GTD class anyway seems to be one of the cars that's being picked this week, but also in the Gtlm class as well. You've got the likes of the BMW, you've got the likes of the new Corvette, and also as well you've got I can't remember what. Yeah, it's just a few names that have been used in the Gtlm class, so a bit of a mixture tonight.
Vlad Kimichev right now, we're riding on board with him in his BMW M8 GTE in the GTLM category. A little bit of damage actually on the left front of that race car, right on the splitter, all the way up to about the grill. So apparently Kimichev had a bit of an off-track excursion himself. He is only going to be good enough for 4th fastest, 115. 146 right now. He appears to just be doing a few extra practice laps. Let's take on board with him for a little bit here, because look at this terrifying run all the way through the first sector. It is definitely a very, very daunting task, and this is where we're going to be seeing a lot of the problems with lap traffic coming into play today.
Yeah, that S6 section as you come down, you can't really do anything. It's more just a one-line section, so you can't really make a move or try and lap traffic through there. Basically you have to be really patient. It gets frustrating at times being stuck behind another car, but around here it's just the nature of the track. And as I come to this back straight as well, this back straight, if you get a good exit onto it, you could possibly try and make a move on someone and get a run on them down the straight, try and make a move into that final chicane.
We have a little bit of time left in qualifying, as Kimichev going to pull it off of the racetrack for now. Should note about the strength of fields going into this race as well. Now, for those that are not familiar, iRacing does try to pair drivers as best as they can with drivers within their own skill group using something called iRating, and that is something that tracks every position and it estimates where you're about to be finished to give you the assigned numbers. So if you have the number 4, you're expected to finish somewhere around the 4th position overall in your class based on your I rating. Now, with multi-class racing, it can get a little hazy, but of course, it does the best that it can. Now, the I rating, on average, for an average racer is usually between 1,500 to 2,500. The LMP2 category alone has an average strength of field I rating of 7.4 thousand, and another 6.4 thousand in the GTLM category.
Yeah, that's just absolutely crazy, and it just shows the turnout tonight for this race as well. And yeah, it's probably the biggest strength of field in each class that we've had so far this season. And yeah, I believe we'll be going to the grid soon, Noah.
Certainly will. 20 seconds remaining in qualifying. Only one driver has yet to set a time, and that is Steen Ledger in the number 22 LMP2. Of course, Steen Ledger looks like he's not going to be out on the track. He has not even attempted to put in a time thus far in qualifying. With 4 seconds left, I think it's very safe to say he is not going to be getting the time that he was potentially looking for here today. So, with qualifying all done and dusted, let's move on and show you your starting grid for tonight's race. So, it is going to be Johan Harth on the pole position of LMP2 with Samuel Lepere just beside him on that front row. Maxime Briand and Theobald Casabon in 3rd and 4th place. Fraser Williamson rounds out the top 5 with Yuri Casador just beside him. Martin von Luzenord, apologies if I mispronounced that right there, and Carlos Fenolosa in the 8th position. You got Steen Ledger rounding out the 9-car LMP2 field for the day. Moving on down to the GTLM category, it's Lasse Bach with Daniel Lafuente on the front row. Daniel Pastor in 3rd with Vlad Kimichev in 4th position. Fabrice Cornelis in 5th. George Barrio in 6th. Dominic Olivier in 7th. You have Max Delorco in 8th. Patrick Heinrich in 9th. Luke Bennett in 10th. Then you have Artem Grabau in 11th. Alexei Nasov in the 12th position. In the lone Corvette for today, it's going to be Jan Sankowski with Elias Raika in the 14th position for the class. And then rounding out the 16-car field is going to be Pablo Aurora and Benjamin Gonzalez. One more class to go. Of course, it is the GTDs. You got Sven Haas on the pole for GTD with Alexander Arana just beside him. Josh Thompson and Sammy Martin Trojan in 3rd and 4th place. You got Gordon Much and Rune Janssens in 5th and 6th. Liam McNeish and Fabio Gorel in 7th and 8th. Gaten Anger and Sergi Maturana in 9th and 10th. You got Mark McCormick in 11th place. Gel Walters in 12th place with Ian Gagnon Renaud, the Canadian, rounding out the GTD car with a 1:18.783, a whole second off of the GTD pole sitter's time. So it's going to be a full pacing lap here today at Road Atlanta.
As indeed, and they just about to get underway with the formation lap, and yeah, I'm quite looking forward to this race. Nolan, after last week, we had a fantastic race at Suzuka last week, but we had some controversy on the last lap. But hopefully, we don't get anything like that here tonight.
Absolutely, that would definitely, that is our big hope right now, is that we don't have a repeat of how that final lap ended up in Road Atlanta. Of course, most controversial incident, which frankly I think a lot of drivers on this grid would be eager to forget, particularly those having to get caught up in it in the GTLM category. All 3 classes right now are getting set on off. Of course, class separation is a thing, which is why you don't see the GTLM class linking up with the LMP2s, and it's why you're also not going to be seeing the GTD cars linking up with the back end of these of the GTLM machines as well.
Yeah, so basically, these multi-class races, there's always be space between the classes, so at the start of the race they don't get too bunched up. But around the track such as Road Atlanta, I think it could be some mayhem, but with some incidents as well, maybe just cars going off track, so that might cause cause the GTLM class or the GTD class to kind of just get caught up with each other a little bit, not as in terms of incidents, but maybe just slowing each other up a little bit.
In the last race as well, we did have that lap 1 wreck in that LMP2 category, with drivers just going a bit too aggressively for the lead. This is, of course, a very tricky turn 1 in of itself, very one line. Do you think we might be seeing another one of those incidents here today?
Uh, I would like to say I hope not, but it's a good possibility. But hopefully everyone's sensible on lap one, especially through that S's section, and everyone doesn't do anything silly. So yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on to see if everyone behaves themselves.
Couple drivers still working on scrubbing those tires, getting everything up to temperatures. Just a few more corners to go before we go green flag racing for 45 minutes as drivers continue to prepare for the 10-hour endurance race taking place. Same track, same cars, just tomorrow. Final thoughts before we go green.
Well, I'm looking forward to this. Road Atlanta, a fantastic track, and it's always produced great racing, and I expect nothing less here tonight as we come round the final corner. Pace car's about to pull in, and we're just about to get underway rolling.
The pace car's off and away. Now it's all up to Johan Harth. When does he make the jump? Now he makes the jump down the hill through the final corner. He's already clear. And the top two single file now. We are green flag racing at Road Atlanta. Side by side for third between Kassadorp and Williamson. Into the first corner. So far, so good though. No dramas today in the LMP2 category.
Just look at the start in the Gtlm class as well. They come across the line, and currently it's Lassie back leading into turn one, followed by Daniel Fuente. And Daniel Pastor in third place, and it looks like, don't want to jinx, but it's been so far so good.
Very clean start all throughout the order as well. The GTLM cars are also through the first corner, and so are the GTDs as they follow through in hot pursuit just behind. Side by side, though, one of the Mercedes being forced to back out. That was Gurel that had to back out as the two Mercedes of the field, Gates and Anchor and Fabio Gurel, went side by side over there into turn number two. Very risky maneuver with how hard of a braking zone that place on the track can be.
Absolutely. I'm just watching up at the front again in P2 classes to come up to the final chicane, and it's still Harth in the lead, followed by Lebert, followed by Bryant, and yeah, we've got a battle for P4 going on at the moment with Theobald Kazubon and Fraser Williamson and Yuri Kastort going on as well, closely followed by Martin van Luzenoord.
Casabon has overtaken Maxime Briend over that last lap for the final podium position, and now Casabon trying to run down Samuel Lepere for second position now as they thunder down towards the SS once again. They just went through turn two, now they're into three, now into four, and now through the fearsome S's, flat out in most cars with the Dallara P217, no exception to the rule. Thibaut Casabon trying to catch on up as Lepere took a bit too much curve, ran wide on the exit. That's cost him a little bit of time, but it might be a pass here for the second position down into that final chicane if Casabon could get a good run here off of this corner.
Yeah, heading onto the back straight now, and it looks like Casabon's got a great run on Lebert in front of him, and Johan Harth is just slowly pulling away from these guys, so starting to build a little bit of a gap, but Lebert under the pressure from Casabon, then they not far behind them as well. They've got Bryant, so it's still really, really close on lap two.
And now here comes the dive bomb up the inside of the chicane. He's going to get the move done. Casabon, a very easy pass there on Samuel Lepere for the second position and the second step on the podium. This is allowing Johan Harth, though, to continue to pull away. Lepere getting back here into turn number one. He has the draft. He's making the look. He's not close enough, though, to make the dive. You have Maxime Briend as well looking in the wings as well. He's trying to find maybe some speed if one of these drivers ends up making a mistake.
And that's the thing with turn one as well. You don't want to do anything too silly. You can make a move, but you've got to be real close to make a move, and also make sure you don't lock up or they nudge someone off. But yeah, and also this corner we're coming up to now on the exit, if you take too much care of it, can make the car bottom out.
The battle is on now for fourth place in the GTD category as Mati Trojan trying to maybe let by one of the BMWs. They are battling for position, so here's Georges Barreo has that incident. He's got big damage on the front end of that BMW M8 GTE. The Audi, not happy, giving him a flash of the headlights behind. This is going to back him up right into Gordon Much, so not at all what Trojans wanted to see here in the early stages.
Yep, and they understandably was quite frustrated by that, judging by the flashing lights, but that's the thing with Road Atlanta as well. There's the GTD leader, Sven Haas, gets a bit sideways on the exit there and manages to hold it. But yeah, it's a bit of a frustrating thing to have around Road Atlanta.
Oh, heads up. Oh, we've had a crash just off the road. It's one of the BMWs, and that is Dominic Olivier that has just been tagged around. He lost it on his own and then got hit a couple times to put some damage on that number 18 machine. So not the start of the race that Olivier wanted to have.
Absolutely not, as they're just about to look at the replay now to see what happened, and coming up to the two right-handers, and it looks like he's fine here, and then it must be on the exit. Oh, he just caught the grass on the outside and lost it.
Now watch, he's going to come back up onto the track.
Ooh.
Right in front of one of the BMWs who was completely unsighted, nowhere to go, and Olivier had to hold the brakes and wait for the track to be clear before he could continue to move out, and he's going to have some work ahead of him now if he's going to have a hope on trying to get those spots back.
Yeah, he could have been a little bit more patient with regards to the rejoin. He just basically put his foot down and tried to get going as quickly as possible. But in the GTD class, we've got a battle for 6th position going on between Liam McNance and Gaten Anger as well at the moment. So yeah, these two are close together in the class, and at the moment McNance holding up P6.
It is Audi versus Mercedes right now. Liam McNeish trying to fend off Gaten Anger just behind. We have another battle as well between Franz Heimdrich and Elias Reika that's really close in GTLM. In the midst of this as well, two BMW MAGDEs running nose to tail right now on the same straightaway as going to keep eyes on this GTD battle. Still throttling their way up the track and trying to see, will we see a pass from the Mercedes on the Audi? Meanwhile, though, this was the battle. The position has just swapped hands. Here comes Jen Senkowski trying to find a run as well. And in the Corvette, he's got to look out for Pablo Adruo, who's trying to find a way through as well. So it's all sorts of chaos right now in GTLM. Could we see 3 wide? We will see 3 wide into turn 1, but Benjamin Gonzalez is forced to back out.
Yeah, 3 wide in turn 1 is not the best thing to do, and I was kind of scared there for a moment just watching that. I thought that 3 wide was going to happen, but yeah, they acted it sensibly and didn't do anything too silly as I come through the S's section.
It's a line of about 6 cars right now, running line astern right now in GTLM, and all of them are wanting a piece of the pie right now. All of them running very closely, nose to tail, very evenly matched thus far. Here you can see on the course just how the things are looking. Those blue cars are actually the LMP2 machines that are already about to catch on to lap traffic. And in fact, they have. We should probably turn our eyes back to this battle for the LMP2 lead as Casabon trying to find his way on the inside of lap traffic. And look out for Johan Hart, who's nearly cleaned out by a Mercedes.
Well, I'm going to be honest, all I could think about when Johan Hart went up the outside of that GTD car was Sacre Bleu.
Oh my goodness, that was definitely a terrifying one at that, and one Mercedes certainly not terribly pleasant. Here's the battle for 3rd, though, that's taking place. Kassadorp trying to find a way through, gets cut off, though, by Brian as he goes side by side with Lepere into the final chicane, and will this be a pass done for the final podium position? Doesn't look like it. Lepere holds the lead. Here comes Kassadorp trying to find the outside through the final corner. They're getting held up here by this lap traffic. This could get dicey here. 2, 3 wide now as they're trying to get out lap traffic. What is this? Is this the Talladega all of a sudden of road course racing?
I feel like we're watching the race at Suzuka all over again. The L stages. Oh my god.
What in the world was that? And the chaos is still going on. They're still trying to fight their way around. This is the worst possible time to be trying to work your way past lap traffic as 4th place is completely held up right now behind 2 of the GTD cars. That allows Williamson to close the gap right on in. He actually might try and move here into the hairpin. Not close enough to quite have a look, but meanwhile behind, still darting side by side all throughout the order. Look at the chaos right now that is going on here. They're bumping and banging everywhere.
Yeah, oh my god, it's so hard to keep up with the action. There's so much going on, but oh my word, riding on board with Carlos at the moment in 8th position, and yeah, that was a bit scary to watch with regards to lapping the GTD traffic, and I'm just looking back up at the front as well, and Johan Hart is still under huge pressure from Kazubon, but riding on board with Carlos, and he's currently stuck in a battle, and yeah, I have to say, Nolan, I said that it was going to
look out. 2 of the Audis just went onto the grass. That's the battle. That's one of the battles for for the GTD cars. Side by side, the turn 1 as well. My goodness me, there's just battles everywhere. Ledger's trying to find a way through around Fenolosa. Fenolosa trying to find a way around Martin van Luzenoord. They're just passing Josh Thompson. Now Thompson cuts off Fenolosa. That might not make that LMP2 car very happy. Nobody's being paged right now. Nobody's wanting to work with anybody else either.
To be fair to Thompson, there's not really much you can do for that S's section because there's only one line, and Thompson had every right to stick to his line, which he did, and So yeah, you can't really blame him for that.
Talk about a casual Sunday drive through New York City. I mean, my goodness, this is just absolutely insane right now. That is the battle for the GTD lead. They just passed by as a battle still going on. Ledger trying to find a way through past Vellanosa. Could we see a move? We will see a move. Ledger trying to move around the outside. And can he get it done through the chicane? No, he cannot. Vellanosa holds on to the spot perfectly around the outside.
Yeah, oh, fantastic racing so far in this race. And well, has Johan Harf lost the lead?
He has. Johan Harth has lost the lead up to Theobald Casabon, so we'll have to get a look and see what in the world has transpired to allow this to be a thing. It was actually off of the final corner here that this took place out of the run down to turn one, so taking a look at the replay now. This is the pass for the lead. Oh, was there a bit of contact that was made there potentially?
I think it might have been a bit of contact, and Johan Harf might have been slightly frustrated, judging by the way he was trying to move across and defend his line, but he couldn't really do anything because Theobald was on the inside.
My goodness me. So it looks like the action has died down a little bit. And as I say that, here's a gaggle of GTLM traffic trying to dart their way through. You got cars side by side for battles just up the road as here you see just going into the chicane. Oh, and Heinrich finds his way through in another position. You got Theobald Casabon, who is still trying to find a way through behind them. So this is the LMP2 traffic now, catching the GTLM battle for their lead here. Casabon finds his way through. Johan Harth is no doubt going to be very anxious to get through ASAP.
Absolutely, as they're coming through to the GTLM traffic now, and just look at the speed on the exit of turn one at half two. He's up the inside of one of the GTLM cars, manages to get by before the S's section, and yeah, I think Johan Harth might have been slightly rattled by that possibly because he's lost touch a little bit to Theobald.
Certainly has. Johan Harth really struggling right now with that machine. One driver that's not going to be pleased right now is Casabon as he's approaching this battle in GTLM. This is between Luke Bennett and Alexei Nesov. This is the battle for 6th and 7th in GTLM right now. They were all wanting to go side by side. Casabon finds his way through around the right side of these cars. And here we're going to see blocking here from Alexei Nesov. Luke Bennett actually looks like he's waiting here for Johan Harth to get on by before he makes the look for the position. Will he be trying the dive over the chicane? No, he won't actually. Luke Bennett being very patient in the number 30 machine to try and make sure he gets that car back home in one piece.
Yeah, and this is the thing with Atlanta as well. If you're stuck behind another car and you can't get by, it's not... I know we keep talking about it, but it's not always a bad thing to sit behind, use that slipstream, maybe do some lifting and coasting and save some fuel before the pit stop.
Now this is the battle for the GTLM race lead between Daniel Lafuente and Lasse Bach. Bach's doing a good job of trying to keep Lafuente at bay for now. They do have, though, some traffic behind them. And, of course, you can't discount that you got third and fourth place as well. That is Vlad Kimichov that's up to third, and Fabrice Cornelis behind that are also looking to potentially get in this mix as well.
Yeah, quite possibly. And Fabrice Cornelis, we recognise from racing in other various series and leagues in the past. And we're a really quick driver on iRacing, but he's not been... I've not seen him race that much recently, so it's good to see him back nevertheless, and he's doing a good job in 5th position, so good to see him there and thereabouts.
Lafuente still trying to close on up to the back end of Lasse Bach. He is not able to quite get close enough. It looks like the carnage of lap traffic has settled down, for now at least, as Lafuente now still trying to find his way through to the front. Here we see the map showing all the lap traffic. You got the GTDs running all on their lonesome, but then you got the LMP2 traffic still trying to dart their way past these GTD cars. There is your overall race leader cutting his way now up into the top 5 of your GTLM category.
Yep, and he manages to get by the GTLM car, sorry, and yeah, just looking in the background as well, he's managed to pull away and build a bit of a gap to Johan, so yeah, I don't know if Johan's got some damage or not, or struggling with the setup, but back in the GTLM class as well, we've got the battle for the GTLM lead going on between Bach and Lafuente, and looking at Johan Harf at the moment coming onto the back straight, and yeah, I don't know if he's being more patient now.
We don't see any damage on Johan Hart's car. Maybe it's one of those cars that's set up for like a one-lap run, and you just cannot get, a good overtaking move done throughout this one. But meanwhile, up front, Lafuente still trying to close on into the GTLM race lead, still not able to get up to Lasse Bach, no matter how hard he tries. Here's Johan Harth right now, who's going to be cutting his way through these guys as well.
Yep, he gets by he gets by Lafuente and gets by Bach before turn 1 and manages to get by. Oh, I thought he was running wide there for a minute, but yeah, manages to get by with no issues.
Indeed, no issues for now for Johan Harth, as this GTLM battle will continue to rage on, no doubt, all the way up until that first pit stop window, as now the LP2s are cutting through the leaders of GTLM, and then next in their sights is going to be the GTD category once again. We take a ride on board right now with that second place runner of Daniel Lafuente in the BMW M8 GTE. Should remind everybody here that there is live timing available. Oh, we got one car sideways, actually, just in the background there, off of the hairpin corner, and that is Vlad Kimichev. There's an LP2 car that is off there as well, so potentially our first multi-class incident here in this race.
Yeah, quite possibly. And yeah, I wonder if it's been on the entry to the second right-hander. As we're looking at the replay now, Vlad seems to have noticed. Oh, he just caught the grass on the outside, and he might have just got clipped by a P2 car. Oh, that was so
my
close.
Word! And there is so the LMP2 car actually went off. It was a completely unmitigated error for Carlos Fendalisa. Just went off completely on his own. Nothing to do with this incident up in front. So a bit of a curious one at that. And while we're taking a look at this, oh, he got on the grass as well. Took too much curb. So that is how he went off and into the grass. Luckily though, kept it out of the barrier. So no harm, no foul. Just a little bit of lost time. There is live timing available at racebot.tv/timing2. That is racebot.tv/timing2 if you want to keep an eye on the action of your favorite drivers of the day. Battle on for the GTD race lead as well between Sven Hasse and Alexander Arena.
Yeah, both of these guys have been basically really close together since the start of the race, and Alexander Arana is the name I recognise on the iRacing scene. I believe he races with the William Esports team, and a really quick driver in iRacing. Same with Sven Hasse, and yeah, both of them battling for the GTD lead at the moment, and they've managed to pull away from the rest of the field in the class by the looks of it.
So these two Audis running all on their lonesome. The question is, how long is it going to be before Arena can close on up to the back end? Because Hasse has not been able to break away from that race lead throughout the entirety of this race so far. So this is not necessarily ideal there for Hasse, as he is still right now trying to find his way up there to maybe get a pass for the lead done. So I have to see what is going to come on out of this battle.
Absolutely, as they're just coming down the back straight now. And there's no traffic coming up to lap them. There's no one really behind them or threatening them, so they can just basically just kind of lap at a consistent pace, and just especially for Alexander, he could just try and save some fuel.
So it seems like we might actually be able to get a replay of a big incident that took place earlier on in the race, where they actually went 4 wide in the middle of the corner. So this is that incident now. This was in the midst of catching an Audi, and look at this gaggle of LP2 cars as they're trying to dart and duck their way around. And look at that mess. I mean, that is just casual Sunday driving at its finest on the service. But I'll tell you what, that is definitely a sight that a lot of these drivers are hoping they never have to see throughout the course of this race again. Of course, I'm pretty sure the viewers wouldn't mind it too much, because I'll tell you what, it is certainly a spectacle you do not get to see all too often.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but when I saw that again, I kind of... when I saw it again, I had to kind of look away a little bit, because I flinched as well. But yeah, fantastic racing as well at the same time. And yeah, hopefully we don't see that sort of thing in the race tomorrow, but around Road Atlanta, anything's possible.
Oh yeah, by all means, anything is possible. I mean, this is a track known for, being dramatic and, definitely having some pretty big incidents. Seems like something has happened to this BMW M8 GTE. Look at the damage there on the left front of that machine. So no doubt that number 5 car might be hurting a little bit and might be struggling as well. That is the...
Oops, sorry, no.
Oh, no, by all means, go ahead.
I was just going to say the battle for second place in GTLM as well. It's Yeah, the battle for the lead, sorry. Yeah, the battle for the lead is still really close at the moment, and yeah, that's, I was just about to say as well, but damage of La Fuente, it's kind of easy to get around here because some of the curves you go over, especially when the car's bouncing at the same time, you can get some maybe some floor damage or body damage as we saw in the Fuente's car. So maybe some of these drivers are running a kind of for a relatively low ride height.
So the battle for second place in LB2 is picked on up. Johan Harth has fallen all the way back into the clutches of Maxime Briant. And they did get very intense over in the first opening corners of this lap. They almost made contact a couple times, and Briand was forced to jack up the brakes in order to avoid running through the back of Johan Harth on the run down towards turn number 2. Now, will Briand try to have a look here into the chicane? Not close enough, nearly not close enough this time by. He might have a go at him into turn 1 if he could get the more optimal run off of this final chicane.
Absolutely, and there's another person that's involved in this fight for second as well, or is about to join the fight for second, rather, as a Scotsman, Fraser Williamson. He's been closing up on these guys really quickly, just because Harth and Bryant have been battling away and holding each other up, and Fraser is closing this gap down, and yeah, we could go on for a three-car battle for second place really soon.
Yeah, absolutely. The battle will be underway. We actually have had a big incident just a few minutes ago, and it was in the Gtlm category. Among them was Artem Grabau. You got Benjamin Gonzalez that was caught up in it as well. This is in a fierce battle for position on the entry to the SS. You had a third car, Max Del Orco, that was caught up as well, who actually slammed into the tire barriers. So we're going to take a look at this now. The whole track was blocked for a couple seconds here. Taking a look at this now, this was I believe this was actually just after the incident took place. Backing it up a bit more here, now we see where the incident took place. It was down in turn number 2 on the entry to the SS.
Yep, as they're side by side on the exit of turn 1 and heading up to the S's as well, and Grabal backs it. Oh, he nudged the car in front of him. Both of them just about wiped out another. Actually, they did wipe out another car.
That was Del Orco that ended up going around, and no doubt his race is going to be done as he was forced to tow it back to pit lane. So not at all what Del Orco wanted to see. Another incident where the trailing car not at fault. Yeah, not a whole lot he could really do in that situation, was there?
Yeah, he kind of tried to go around them as much as possible. Unfortunately, he just got tagged, and it was only one way he was going, and that was into the wall. But back up in the P2 class, the battle for second place is still going on between Harth and Bryant, and behind Bryant is we've got Fraser Williamson now as they're coming up to the lap. More GT traffic in front of them on heading into the back straight.
So Maxime Brienne now within striking distance of Johan Harth. They look around, they go 3 wide around the battling GTD/GTLM machines. Now, will there be a look into the bus stop chicane? Johan Harth has got the defend here against Brienne. Can Brienne have the look? He is going to have the look. Doesn't go for the dive bomb, though. So Maxime Brienne being nice and patient here, being respectful. That's good for him, though, because Johan Harth, he ran wide to the corner, now trying to find a way by. Harth blocks left and right, back across the apex now. It's a 3-car battle now for second place.
Yeah, as ahead in turn 1 and on the exit of the final corner, or the chicane, Harth was struggling for traction a little bit. He got a little bit sideways, and that allowed Bryant to close right up on him on the home straight. But as they come through the S section now, they're coming up to lap more GT traffic, a GTLM car, and
Big move there from the GTD traffic, really pinching in Maxime Brienne. That has just cut Johan Harth a massive break. All of a sudden, all that time that Brienne gained on him is gone. He's got a lot of work ahead of him. No doubt, though, Maxime Brienne will be able to get it done, because guess who's got more lap traffic ahead of him? It is Johan Harth, who is still going to be struggling with some of the lap traffic that is just up the road here.
And yeah, that's the thing with Run Atlanta as well. You can go away from the car behind and build up a bit of a gap, but if you get loads of GT traffic in front of you, it can lose you loads of time, and they kind of give you the advantage to the cars behind to close back up on you.
We are at this time approaching the pit window. We're over halfway now through this 45-minute race. So by this time, the pit window is very much open. We've already seen a couple cars come down to the lane. I actually see one car that's on his way out of the lane, as well as this lap traffic darts their way through. I believe that was one of the GTD Audis, and it was Liam McNeish that just exited pit road in the GTD category in the background. So pit window very much open now, as drivers will only need to make one stop today, and it will be a fuel-only stop. If you take tires, well, you're only going to be shooting yourself in the foot.
Absolutely. 45 minutes is basically, yeah, the tyres will last that distance. So like you say, you only need fuel. And I think you might see some drivers putting in early, especially in the P2s or the GTLM class, or even the GTD class, because if you're stuck in traffic, you just lose too much time. Just as I say that, we've got a GTD and a GTLM car in the pits.
That is Trojan, and one of the BMWs that has also come down to the lane this time by. So multiple drivers now coming down to the lane, opting to make those stops. I believe these two drivers here, Sven Haas and Alexander Arena, have not come down to pit yet. Arena still running out in front with that GTD lead. Haas still trying to close the gap.
Absolutely, as they're coming onto the back straight now, and I wonder if any of these two will come into the pits at the end of this lap, or they'll maybe try and do the long game and just try and stretch the fuel out as long as possible and just run the tank dry.
Sometimes that is what drivers tend to do. They might come down and pit with just 15 minutes left to go. You really do never know with this batch of guys what is going to take place. Arena is able to get a massive gap on him, or he's able to close in the gap significantly in the run down that back straightaway. He just never gets close enough to be able to realistically make that pass work, and then he falls back a little bit through that first sector, which is why he is not really able to get close enough to realistically make the pass.
Yeah, it could be as well that maybe both of these drivers are running the same sort of downforce. As Hazard goes a bit wide, and I thought Arana was going to take a look for a second, but he doesn't do it. So yeah, both of them are still as they were as they head through the SS6, and they're looking at the leader at the moment, Kazuban coming across the line, and yeah, 1.5 has managed to close the gap down to him to about 0.7 of a second.
Harth is about to be knocking on the door, and he's probably saying, "Yoo-hoo, anybody home?" And now look at this. Casabon catches lap traffic, worst possible time. This will allow Johan Harth to close in well within half a second. The battle for the lead is reignited just like that. And now the GTLM cars are forced to go evasive as Johan Harth tries to dart his way through. They're going to go left, then they're going to go right, but Harth is going to get cut off by a BMW.
Yeah, just managed to get by the GTLM BMW heading into... Oh, it was the GTLM car still alongside on the X, actually. Holy moly.
That has just like that extinguished said battle for the lead and turned it more into a battle for third place. Maxime Briand now has closed in the gap to second place up in front.
And they head down into the chicane now, and Briand is closed the gap back down to Harth, like you mentioned, and on the heading down to the home straight now. And again, that's allowed Briand's into the pits.
That is Briand coming down to pit road. So the LMP2 pit window is now open. I don't believe Harth or Casabon have come down to pit road just yet. So this might actually be the first of the takers in the LMP2 category. So this is going to be very, very crucial here. Could Maxime Briand be trying a leapfrog strategy up into second place, potential undercut?
That's more than a possibility. As GTD leaders have made a pit stop, Sven Haas and Alexander Arana, and they're coming out the pits now, and there was a bit of contact between a GTLM BMW and Arana.
That was very, very dicey on the exit of pit road. I mean, admittedly, I kind of have to put that on the BMW because he came right across the Audi's nose. The Audi wasn't doing anything wrong. He was well within, that pit out lane. We're going to take a look on board the arena now. This will tell the story as to who was potentially at fault here. As we look at the replay, watch that BMW. Yeah, sorry to say, I think the BMW might just be at fault there.
Arana was sticking to his line, and he didn't do anything wrong. He was just sticking to his line on the exit, and I have to agree, that was all on the GTLM BMW. Then he just moved across and never left enough room. As Johan Harth and some other P2 cars are in the pits as well.
Good gaggle of cars actually now. I count 7 right now. They're all coming down to the pit lane as well. So you got Johan Harth coming down to the pit road. Thibaut Casabon and Fraser Williamson have both stayed out. You have Yuri Kasdorp in as well. Samuel Lepere just entered his pit stall. Luzenord is in the pits. Dean Letcher's in. And so is Fenolosa, who is now just entering his pits as well. Maxime Briand, meanwhile, is on the front straightaway. And he is actually might leapfrog here. He might actually leapfrog Johan Harth. He will leapfrog Johan Harth. Look at that madness on the exit of pit road. Max and Brian put him up into second place, and more contact behind between Johan Harth and one of the GTDs.
Yeah, that was so close, but Max, he managed to jump Johan Harth in the pit stop, and Johan Harth saw it coming, and he tried to squeeze Brian into into the GTD car.
I remember when we were over at Suzuka, we were talking about how this race is going to be even crazier for stuff like this. Well, I think that statement is living true. We may as well declare ourselves to be prophets here, because my goodness me, this is just absolute chaos right now, as it looks like the pit window is about to close on up. And it was this. That's Fraser Williamson down to pit road. Oh, and he's overshot the pit stall. Disaster for Williamson as he overshoots the pit stall. Kajabon is also down to the lane. Johan Harth is just now through that final corner. Can Kajabon manage to get on out before him? Kajabon leaves the pit stall. Here comes Johan Harth, though, down the pit straightaway. Kajabon's got it. He's got the lead.
Yeah, that was a great pit stop by Kajabon, and they managed to jump Harth in the pit stop. And I don't think Johan Harth's going to be very happy about that, because he got held up in traffic, but there's nothing that he could do about that. So a great pit stop even by Theobald.
Meanwhile as well, and it looks like the GTLMs now have come down for a couple of their stops as well. That is Lasse Bach, who is just now coming down for his one and only pit stop. It looks like La Fuente had already come down for his stop, so this will be once again pretty darn crucial here. And it's going to be Lasse Bach, who is just now in pit road. He's coming down to his stall now. La Fuente, meanwhile, he's approaching that final chicane.
Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on La Fuente as well, and also keeping an eye on Bach. And I think this could be really close, as La Fuente is coming round the final chicane now. He's on the exit, he's coming round, and Bach's starting to move.
La Fuente's got a lot more speed, though. Gets an LMP2 by. Needs to let him through quickly. Can he get the run? It doesn't look like it. No, he is not. Lasse Bach comes out well in front. So that number one machine is out in front for GTLM.
Yeah, it was a great stop by Bach. He managed to come out and just in front of him, and he's got a good gap as well. So all he needs to do in the closing stages, we've got about just under 10 minutes left, I believe. So he just needs to bring it home.
And of course, the battles are not done just yet. Have a lot of racing left to go. 13 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. For those that are just tuning on in, welcome to Friday night primetime action of round number 3 of the iRacing IMSA Sportscar Championship. If you're wanting to know where our live timing is at, well, you can find it at racebot.tv/timing2. That is racebot.tv/timing2. 13 minutes left on the clock. We're 3/4 of the way through this race. Sorry, I checked that. 2/3. My math is terrible today.
Yeah, and I have to say, if I was voting on a race that's had plenty of action and great action as well, I would definitely say this tops Suzuka. So yeah, there's been action everywhere, and it's been fantastic to watch. But there's been some close calls at times as well.
I think close calls has been a little bit of an understatement, and some calls that were quite literally too close to call, because they ended up not being very much close calls. Battle on for the second position now in the GTD category, just about half a second apart. That is Gordon Much trying to fend off Samim Mati Trojan.
And I don't think Much is pitted yet as well. I don't think he has, as far as I'm aware. Oh, he has pitted actually, so he's actually in a net second position in GTD at the moment. So he's actually he's had a quiet race anyway, came from nowhere up into second place, and having a great run.
I believe actually Gordon Much is one of the most improved drivers of the race. He's up 6 spots right now from where he started in this race. That looks to me that might just be one of the most improved. There hasn't been a whole lot of actual position shuffling going on, as we'll see. Here's the look. Oh, well, check that. Well, Steen Ledger is up 30 spots. Of course, does that really count, though? Because he's in the LMP2 category, and he didn't set a qualifying time. And since he started with the LMP2s, I wouldn't say that really counts.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that counts. Probably overall positions, yeah, but in the class, no.
Well, technical technical happenings aside, do apologize, Steam Ledger, but that award, my book, does not quite go for you for today. You've had it before in the past, but not today, it would seem. Fourth place is also hotting up with Fabrice Cornelis and Vlad Kimichev. Remember, Kimichev had that spin earlier on in the race. He is trying to recover and get himself a fourth place finish here today.
Yeah, he's absolutely on a mission at the moment. He's absolutely thrown that car around through the S's section, and he's managed to close up to Fabrice Cornelis, who's just had a quiet race actually. Thinking about it, normally you see Fabrice right up there in any Infinity races, challenging for a win and challenging for podiums. But at the moment, he's having to keep an eye on him, on Vlad.
Right, now, can Kimichev get that run down into this final chicane? I don't think he's going to be close enough. If he does, it would have to be a very, very brave one at that. He's staying behind, not even going to make a look. But I'll tell you what, Cornelius knows that he is there, and he knows that he has got to make sure that every corner counts, because Kimichev will no doubt pounce on the slightest of mistakes.
Yeah, and he had a great race at Suzuka last week. Kimichev, he managed to, looking through the results quickly, he managed to win in Gtlm last week at Suzuka. So,
heads up,
P2 car off on the grass.
Yeah, that was off of turn 1. That's Steam Ledger. We just talked about him. Steam Ledger is actually off and into the grass. He's down to 9th place now in the LB2 category. And what in the world has happened here? Gonna take a look at our replay. You don't often see cars going out there. Oh, he clipped the grass. Clipped the grass on the entry, and then from there on, just a passenger, and almost tipped over as well as he hit the barrier. And
that's the thing with Turn 1 at Road Atlanta as well. You want to try and take as much of a wide entry into Turn 1 as possible, but you've got to be careful with that, because the grass on the outside, if you clip it wrong, as we've just saw, that'll spin you round, and most of the time you'll just end up as a passenger into that tyre barrier.
Steam Ledger, of course, a driver that we are quite familiar with, and that is I'll tell you what, it's a little bit of a rare mistake from Ledger to see. I mean, most notably from him, I remember seeing him racing in the IVRA Club Sport Series when he drove the Audi RS3 LMS in the touring car category for that series. He was quite prominent, a driver that was very often towards the top end of the midfield. So it's not often that you see a driver like that making a mistake so easily. It's a very easy mistake to do, but I mean, I would honestly have almost expected that Steam Ledger might have been a bit more aware of that.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised to see a mistake like that from Ledger. Like you, I've watched him in various things. I've watched him in TCR front-wheel drive cars, and he's always been quick. So maybe he's still getting to grips with this P2 car, just finding the limit, and unfortunately, it looked like he went over that limit and just found the wall.
Absolutely, might just have been the case. Now here's a good battle for the second position, and this is for the GTD category. Gordon Munch still trying to fend off Trojan behind them. 8 minutes to go now on the clock. It's going to be how long do these battles start to take up the time, because Trojan again can't afford to wait for long, because that is Josh Thompson that is just waiting in the wings as well, trying to make something up and potentially get himself into a podium position here.
Yeah, and Josh Thompson, you know, from racing in some of the pro series on iRacing, and a real quick driver. Sometimes he can be aggressive, but in general he's really quick. He's always one to keep an eye on, and at the moment he's closing up in this battle for second and third place in the GTD class. And I think if he gets a sniff of a chance of making a move, I think you'll see Josh go for it.
And you never know, it'll only take that one little look before all chaos is going to completely break loose. 7 minutes left on the clock. That is the LMP1 overall leader. The LP2 overall leader just starting his way past this battle for the second position. I think at this point, Steve Hasse is very much having this race in the bag, provided he makes no mistakes. Have we had an incident with one of the other LMP2s? We have. It was contact in a battle for a position, which is going to put Kassor down to 6th place.
Yeah, it looks like as you're coming down to the chicane now, and it looks like he might have had contact with Fraser Williamson as Castor went for the move, as there's a GTLM car in front of him. Tries to go up the inside, and there was just no room given between both of them, and unfortunately Castor was the one that got tagged around.
That was a bit clumsy right there from both parties. You could already see that the car was starting to slide towards that other car, but admittedly, Williamson did not have a whole lot of room to work with either. So onto this back straightaway, and you can see in the back just how crazy it is in the back with lap traffic, as well as we even had Sami Multi-Trojan being bump drafted and going in much. Appears like he just tried to have a go, as that battle was actually just completely split up by the lead lap traffic trying to dart their way through.
Yeah, Josh Thompson got the slipstream and he got to run, but he couldn't really do anything. He's trying to make a move, and you can see at times he's flashing the lights, trying to intimidate Sami Matti. And Matti's having none of it and managing to do well and keep his composure.
Certainly is, and now Trojan's got to start focusing on Josh Thompson just behind him, because he's the driver he really has to worry about. Got Gtlm traffic though. That is no doubt going to be starting to get impatient as they try to dart their way through. Some LMP2s also in the mix of this one, as we are now with 5 minutes remaining in this race. Not a lot of time at all for Thompson to make that move and to find a 40 position in the GTD.
There's a P2 car goes by, and I think Thompson's got a GTLM car coming up to help him as well, so he could, if the GTLM car gets by him in time, he could use that slipstream to try and close back up on Matti. And we've got more P2 cars coming up behind as well, so it's all starting to get hectic again a little bit.
Another P2 car goes out the middle in the background, and now it's going to be Thompson to get in line with that GTLM machine to try to get the slipstream, but all that lap traffic is going to split this battle up big time. This could be good though, as almost a bit of a lock up there looked like, as smoke flies from the tires. One LMP2 car goes around the outside. That allows Thompson goes right on in to the back of Trojan, but a BMW is going to once again split them up.
Yep, and I believe if we went into the final lap, so yeah, Thompson, this is his last chance to try and make a move, but that GTLM car has kind of split them up again. Not quite on that last lap just yet. We are, of course, getting ever closer to that, though. Thompson now all over that back bumper of Sami Matti Trojan. Trojan is now feeling the heat. He knows he cannot afford to make a mistake now. Bounces wide over the curbs and into the sand by the smallest of margins. I'll tell you from experience, it only takes that little bit in order to completely screw you over. An LMP2 car goes by as well. This is not good for Thompson, as he's getting a little bit held up now. Yeah, he's lost time to Trojan, and unfortunately it's kind of just he's lost touch a little bit, but I think with the straight and the draft he might be able to close back up, but I kept thinking it was the last lap. There's so much going on, it's just hard to keep track.
Well, they were racing like it's the last lap all the way from the green flag, so I can't blame you for making the honest mistake. I mean, I have a feeling some of these drivers were even making similar mistakes as well on the track. 3 minutes remaining, about 2 to 3 laps left remaining in the GTD category, maybe about 3 to 4 in LMP2. Maxime Briand still trying to fend off Johan Hart as they throttle their way through one of those sharp hairpin corners and on the back straight.
Yep, in this battle for second place is it's kind of broken up, but Johan Hart, just watching his onboard from my point of view, he's absolutely just wringing the neck out of this car, trying to close back up, and unfortunately he's running out of time.
Running out of time indeed. This could be crucial here, as LMP2 traffic still trying to dart their way past these GTLM machines. 2.5 minutes now remaining in the race. Be right on board with Johan Hart to watch as he continues to try to close in to Maxime Briand.
Yep, and overall I have to say this race has been pretty exciting to watch, and I thought Suzuka was a good one. This one's been much better, as Johan Hart just runs slightly wide over the curb and gets blocked by a GTLM car.
He is really being held up right now by that GTLM car, isn't he? Just cannot find a way through. Now finally finds a way through, but that's allowed 4th place to close right on up. Heads up, that is was 1.5 seconds, but now look at the gap back to Fraser Williamson, just 0.3 of a second. Williamson's in striking distance from the chicane.
And I think if Williamson gets really close and he gets it, it looks like he's got a great run. I think he's going to try and go for a move, but Johan Hart is not going to make it easy. And I think if Williamson,
here he goes,
goes for a move, and Hart with a late defensive move.
side by side into the chicane. Harth on the right side. Williamson gets the pass done into the chicane. Harth trying to fight back. About 2 laps remaining. It might be close though at the line as they dart their way across the finish line. Weaving left, weaving right. Harth trying to find a way through. Goes way to the inside. Williamson trying the outside. Trying to keep him behind, and he does.
Yeah, great defensive driving by Williamson. He managed to keep hold of the position as they come through the S's now. And I think Williamson, on the other hand, will be under attack if Johan Harth can keep up with him heading onto the back straight, because that long straight and if slipstream, it plays a major factor.
And I do believe we might have one more lap to go after this one, as we got 30 seconds on the clock, but Casabon is already on the back straightaway, so we might get ourselves one more lap set in this 45-minute race. We'll have to see here. This could potentially be very, very close as we get to the line. 20 seconds on the clock now. When it hits 0, that will declare the final lap. He's through that last chicane now. He's going to be over this crest. 12 seconds in, and there's going to be one more lap for sure. 8 seconds on the clock as he crosses the start-finish line. Battle still on for the second position.
Yeah, as we come down to the home straight now, and Williamson is doing absolutely everything to keep hold of the position. He tried to break the draft when he came up to lap the GT traffic, but as they come down to turn 1, and they're so close.
They went 3 wide for a moment, and lap traffic is once again hampered. Johan Harth not able to do anything about it. He's still on the back end of Williamson though. Can he get him back in the run down to the chicane? This battle might go right down to the wire.
And I'm just watching in front of them as well. Bryant, they're closing up on Bryant, and I think Bryant might be fuel saving.
Next, so here we go though, the battle is on. Harth tried another look, but Williamson covered him off. The battle is still very much on and alive. Harth trying the outside line, can't get it to work. Try the inside on the over-under. Still cannot get the move done. It's a heads-up drag race now. Down the back straightaway. That's really close. Do not make contact, boys. Please be careful. Onto the grass for a brief moment goes Johan Harth. Still side by side into the final chicane. Can they make it work? Who's going to get the spot? Still side by side.
That was a lovely switchback.
And he's might get the switchback here. The drag race, they make contact. They're doing to the final run. And it's going to be Fraser Williamson to take third place. Thibaut Casabon, meanwhile, takes the overall race win while all that chaos was going on. Lasse Bach has taken the victory in GTLM. Sven Hasse, the only driver right now yet to finish the race. He's on the back straightaway. Oh my God, what a race.
Fantastic race, and I feel bad that we missed the race winner coming across the line, but there was just that battle going on for second place in LMP2. It was hard to take our eyes off it, but no, what a race. We thought Suzuka was a great one last week, but this one for me just tops it.
Sven Hasse is going to cross the line, take victory in the GTD category. What a battle for third place. I mean, yeah, absolutely. For Casabon, congratulations on the race win, but what a thrilling fight. It's not over though. It's Gordon Munch still trying to fend off, but the Team Trojan in fourth place is going to be Josh Thompson. Thompson cannot get there. Another thrilling battle overall for second, third, and fourth in GTD. What in the world have we just witnessed?
I'm not sure what to say. I think what we have witnessed though was fantastic racing in the closing stages, and I'm not even racing and I'm out of breath just watching that.
Going over to the overall race results now, it is going to be Thibaut Casabon to take victory in LMP2. Down in second place, it is Maxime Brienne. Fraser Williamson in third. Johan Harth fourth. Yuri Kasdorp rounds out the top 5. Martin van Luzendorp in sixth place. Samuel Lebert in seventh. Carlos Fenolosa in eighth. Steen Ledger rounds out the 9-car LMP2 field. Now, moving on down to the GTLM category, it is Lasse Bach with Daniel Lafuente in second position, Daniel Pazdor in third, Fabrice Cornelis in fourth place, Vlad Kibichev in fifth, Alexei Nisov in sixth place, Luke Bennett in seventh, Jean Senkowski in eighth, George Barrio in ninth, with Elias Reika in the 10th position. Continuing to move on down, it is Pablo Araujo in 11th, Patrick Heinrich in 12th, Artem Grabau in 13th place. Cars that did not finish the race are accounted for Max Delorco, Benjamin Gonzalez, and Dominic Olivier, who finished 29 laps down. Moving down to the GTD category now, it's Sven Haase to take victory. Gordon Mutch, Samim Mati Trojan, and Josh Thompson round out a thrilling three-car battle for the second, third, and fourth positions. Liv Nish has to settle for a top 5 in the last car on the GTD lead lap. Then it is Gaten Anger, Fabio Guerrell in 7th, Sergi Maturana in 8th, Mark McCormick in 9th, Rune Janssens in 10th position, Alexander Arana in 11th position, Ian Gajnan Renaud in 12th, and not finishing the race was Gel Waters. My goodness, what a race.
Absolutely, and just catching my breath after that. And yeah, I have to say that battle in LMP2 was absolutely fantastic to watch. Nolan between Fraser Williamson and Johan Harf. There was hard racing and battling going on between the two, especially on the last lap. But they gave each other just enough room, and I have to say that switch back from Williamson on the exit of the chicane heading down to the home straight was just absolute textbook perfect.
Well, I mean, that right there, that whole incident between the LMP2 battle, that is racing at its finest. That is some of the best racing, hands down, that you can see on the servers. That is two great drivers showing the utmost respect for one another, somehow not turning each other. I thought they would so many times. Let's actually take a look at a replay of this last lap do battle. Watch, we might take a look with the entirety of this last lap as we ride on board the Fraser Williamson. This was the first of the moves there. This is where the battle started, in that massive late brake maneuver down into that final chicane. They were side by side, and throughout all of that whole exchange right there never made contact, not a scratch in either car.
Yeah, like I say, it was hard racing. They never touched, amazingly, but both of them were so close at times. I thought it was going to end up in contact and disaster. And Johan Harfield tries to take a look up the inside into turn 1, but he can't do anything about it. And Fraser Williamson, as well, I have to say, put on a great defensive job as well. He didn't do anything too silly like we saw like from other drivers at Suzuka last week. He done the hard defensive driving, but he done it in a fair way. And I have to say, I have to take my hat off to him.
Oh, absolutely. You don't see racing like that very often. I mean, usually when it gets that close, it ends in tears for one, if not both drivers involved, and usually some behind them as well. So to see that kind of close racing, that is the exact reason why I got into this business, is just so I could watch stuff like this. Because taking another look now at this whole replay in this massive battle, watch as they catch the Audi traffic. That is really what made this battle take place in the first place, was Fraser Williamson wanting to be patient with the Audi, make sure he doesn't take him out. Johan Harth, though, obviously not want to be so patient. Look, he's going to go to the right side. It almost gets nudged into the grass, too, in the braking zone, forced to back out. Now, this right here is what made Johan Harth's race the perfect over and under, and Fraser Williams is going to get it right back in the final chicane.
Yeah, and I think Fraser realised that as well, that Johan Harf has got a run on him, and he might get by. And I think as soon as Harf got by, I think actually Fraser was planning the move, what to do if Harf got by. So basically he slows down here, or yeah, he doesn't slow down, but he basically goes up the inside. Harf goes up the inside of him, and then Fraser Williamson with the lovely switchback.
Hart almost got him around the outside, but just couldn't hang on to the momentum, and that was all Fraser Williamson needed to get that position secured. But what a race! I mean, how often do you see stuff like that? I mean, it's not often.
I've saw that a few times in real life, watching the likes of the IMSA WeatherTech Sportscar Championship and a range of other motorsport series. But yeah, I think this is a perfect example of people that say, anyone that says sim racing is boring, it's just a game. They should watch this and come back in the future.
Absolutely. My goodness, I mean, holy cow. I mean, it got the next race as well, Circuit of the Americas. Probably won't be as thrilling as this, but I mean, that track with the first sector in itself, it's certainly going to be something as well.
Yep, and Petit Le Mans tomorrow. It should be a great race with with some of these drivers being in the main race tomorrow as well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it as well. And I think in every class, it should be an absolute cracker to watch.
Of course, you thought tonight's 45-minute race was crazy with the lap traffic and everything like that. Imagine 10 hours of that. Well, that's what's going to be taking place tomorrow in the Petit Le Mans race. Same cars, same track. We're going to be racing from the daytime all the way to under the lights. I'll tell you right now, it's going to be one thrilling race. But I'll tell you what, sadly, we don't have any more time. It is time to close off another presentation of Friday Night Primetime action. The next time we go racing will be on October 9th in the state of Texas at the Circuit of the Americas. I have been Nolan Red Bull, bringing you all the action from flag to flag, with Ryan Walker helping me in the commentary box and Connor Maddock downstairs in the producer's chair. Thank you for watching another RaceBot TV presentation on the iRacing Esports Network. Don't miss the Petit Le Mans. It's going to be one heck of a race. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and enjoy some of these race highlights. Johan Hart, when does he make the jump? Now he makes the jump down the hill through the final corner. He's already clear, and the top two single file now. We are green flag racing at Road Atlanta, side by side for third between Kasseldorf and Williamson into the first corner. So far, so good though. No dramas today in the LMP2 category. Already about to catch on to lap traffic, and in fact they have. We should probably turn our eyes back to this battle for the LMP2 lead as Kasseldorf trying to find his way on the inside of lap traffic, and look out for Johan. Done for the final podium position. Doesn't look like Lepere holds the lead. Here comes Kasseldorf trying to find the outside of the final corner. They're getting held up here by this lap traffic. This could get dicey here. 2, 3 wide now as they're trying to get out lap traffic. What is this? Is this the Talladega all of a sudden of road course racing?
I feel like we're watching the race at Stuka all over again. The old stages. Oh my god.
What in the world was potentially at fault here? As we look at the replay, watch that BMW. Yeah, sorry to say, I think the BMW might just be at fault. Brian, meanwhile, is on the front straightaway, and he is actually might leapfrog here. He might actually leapfrog Johan Hart. He will leapfrog Johan Hart. Look at that madness on the exit of pit road. Max and Brian put him up in a second. Over at Suzuka, we were talking about how this race is going to be even crazier for stuff like this. Well, I think that statement is living true. We may as well declare ourselves to be prophets here, because look at the gap back to Fraser Williamson, just 0.3 of a second. Williamson's in striking distance with the chicane.
And I think if Williamson gets really close and he gets it, it looks like he's got a great run. I think he's going to try and go for a move, but Johan Hart is not going to make it easy. And I think if Williamson,
here he goes,
goes for a move, and Hart with a late defensive move.
Side by side into the chicane. Hart on the right side. Williamson gets the pass done into the chicane. Hart trying to fight back. About 2 laps remaining. It might be close though at the line as they dart their way across the finish line. Weaving left, weaving right. Hart trying to find a way through. Goes way to the inside. Williams in the final chicane.
Yeah, and I think Fraser realised that as well, that Johan Hart has got a run on him, he might get by. And I think as soon as Hart got by, I think actually Fraser was planning the move, what to do if Hart got by. So basically he slows down here, or yeah, he doesn't slow down, but he basically goes up the inside. Hart goes up the inside of him, and then Fraser Williamson with the lovely switchback.
Hart almost got him around the outside, but just couldn't